Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome to the Strategic Performance Management Professional Certificate Informational Session. I'm Stuart Griffel, and I am the instructor for this coming cohort's session. Also, we have on our session today Stephanie Bensoden, who's a program manager for the SPMC and other programs at the National Center for Public Performance. And I'll just go ahead and introduce myself.
Stu, I think your mic might be malfunctioning a little bit. Unless I'm the only one that hears it. Feel free to say in the chat.
I'm sorry, Stephanie, what is that?
Oh, go ahead. There was some feedback from your mic for a moment.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Okay, so I'm the instructor for this certificate program, and my background has been in various aspects of productivity improvement, mainly for the public sector. Over the past 30 years, I've assisted many government organizations in performance measurement and performance improvement while at KPMG, also the National Center for Public Productivity, when it was at Rutgers University and now Suffolk University. Also, I work with the innovation groups, the city of Tampa, Florida, Polk County, Florida, and the state of Florida, to name just a few. And I've trained hundreds of public managers in performance measurement and improvement. And I was the recipient of the Harry Hatchery Distinguished Performance Practices Award from the American Society for Public Administration. And by the way, Harry Hatchery is one of the fathers of performance measurement, and you'll be reading a few of his articles during the session. I also received an MBA from Suffolk University and an MPA from Blue College, City of University of New York. I'm also a certified internal auditor, certified inspector general auditor, and certified fraud examiner. And I've taught this course for the past 13 cohorts. Do you want to show the next slide? Okay. And do you want to introduce?
Yeah, so this is just
Stephanie, and go over the session agenda?
Yeah, so this is just a quick session agenda for tonight. So you'll be meeting the NCPB team. We'll have a course overview. Stuart will go over the course curriculum, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. Pretty quick and simple. So on our team, so we have Stuart, which is our SPM instructor for the certificate. Arun Manoharan, which is the executive director of NCPP, the National Center for Public Performance, and then myself, the program manager. So NCPP has been around for almost 50 years now. This is just a quick little bio for everyone to read, but we are public service and research center at Suffolk University, Boston. We've been devoted to improving performance in the public sector and nonprofit sector, and have really worked on some amazing initiatives in the past, have worked on some amazing projects, and also, really focus on helping bridge the gap in training for professionals in the public sector who want to make an impact. Well,
sorry, Stephanie, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I was also going to add, so, I'll be the main contact for NCPP. And if you take the course and the certificate, any questions that you have, technical questions, any questions that you may have now about, the price or registration or anything, you can always just feel free to email me, and I'll put the email in the chat, but feel free to email me if you have any issues, any questions, any comments, and I'm happy to help. Go ahead,
So
Stu.
here's just a list of just some of the participating organizations over the years that the certificate has been in existence. We have local government. As you can see, we also have nonprofits. We have the Smithsonian, students from the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., hospital, Office of Child Support and Enforcement, that was state, the State Auditor's Office, Massachusetts, Michigan Department of Technology, Judiciary of New York, the Urban Affairs Coalition, and so on. And if you look at the next slide, you get just an idea of some of the countries that have sent students to the course. And we've been doing this for now 12 years. We've had over 500 graduates from the certificate program from 16 countries. So a pretty diverse group of students from all over the world. So the next 25 minutes or so, I'll give you an overview of the course and include some detail in a couple of the slides. And feel free to jump in with questions, or if you need any clarification at any point after my presentation. So you'll have an opportunity now. Anytime you want to jump in with a question, feel free to do so, as I said, and we'll also leave some time at the end of the session for additional questions. I'm also pleased to have with us Greg Benson, who will speak in a few minutes about his experience as a student in the last cohort. So, course overview. This serves as an applied introduction to the design and implementation of performance management systems in public nonprofit organizations. And take a look at the course goals on the slide. Back to the previous slide. Thank you, Stephanie. Now we'll be doing class exercises where you can use, if you want, examples from your own organization. And it's good to use often, if you can, use examples from your own organization when you do the exercises, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And of course, most of us are more interested in an exercise when we're working with a program or a problem that we have to live with each day. And if you do the work, all the required work, you'll leave the course with a good theoretical and especially practical foundation on which to evaluate the systems in your organization and make improvements as necessary. You'll be aware of the best practices in performance measurement and performance management from around the country. And I'll be using the terms performance measurement and performance management interchangeably during this session as well as during the course. And let me make a quick distinction between performance measurement and performance management. Performance measures are mostly, you'll find, usually in an organization's budget document or a supplement to the budget document. And performance management, so performance measurement is just developing relevant performance measures for your organization, division, department, or whatever, or program. Performance management. So performance measurement is just developing the measures, collecting the data, and reporting it. Performance management is using that performance measurement data to make improvements in your organizations, to look at the data that's being captured through your measurement system, and then say, what is it telling me that possibly I need to do differently in my operation? So that's really performance management, using the data to improve the organization. So the real value is not just collecting the measurement data, but reporting and using it. Also, by taking the course, you'll know what steps to take in developing, implementing, maintaining, and improvement with your system, and what's feasible now and in the future. I think for those of you who already work in a government organization know that sometimes it's not the right time now to try to implement everything, but you'll know when the time's right, and then you'll have the tools to be able to implement those processes and hopefully those changes to have a really good system in your organization. So in the 8 weeks in the 8 weeks of course, you'll be aware of the best practices and implement them based on the readiness of your organization. And the course is useful for anyone involved in various aspects of performance data collection, analysis, and using the information in government, and using the information set in government and nonprofit organizations. It's useful for anyone who wants to learn more about this subject, even if you just have a little minimal or no experience with performance measurement and performance management in the past. Okay, next slide. Okay, over the past year, we've made some significant updates to the course, and most of the focus being on adding articles that enhance the content regarding sustaining a performance management system. So sustaining, not just developing, but keeping it going over time, effectively communicating performance results, and especially use of technology in collecting, analyze, reporting, and using the data in organizational improvement. We've also added some new videos to the course, including performance management related conference presentations. So the course will cover most of the key areas related to performance measurement and developing and sustaining a performance management system. Now, as I see it, in this course, there are really two main parts to building and sustaining the system. Okay, and again, we're not talking about just necessarily computer systems. We're talking about performance measurement, especially performance management system. The first section is where we talk in the class about where, so section 1, about what to measure and how to collect and report the data to measure the progress your organization is making. And in section 2, we talk about how we use the information to influence our organization's performance. Now, we don't just want, and hopefully you won't have just symbolic adoption of a performance management system. So we hope that by learning these tools and techniques, you'll be ready, as I said, to when the time comes, and hopefully it'll come sooner than later. You'll be ready. You'll have the tools and techniques and experience from work you'll do in this class to really get these various things we'll talk about over the 8 weeks implemented. You might not be able to make your organization a data-driven one right away, but sometimes you can influence, even in the short term, in small ways. Okay. Stephanie, next slide, thank you. So here are the weekly topics. I want to really go through this slide because this will really give you a good idea of what we're going to cover in each week. Section 1 in weeks, which is measure creation and data collection. And weeks 1 and 4, again, corresponds to section 1 on the previous slide, and really focuses more on the internal aspects of performance measurement. So first week, quickly introducing performance. This first week, we'll ask where your organization is now. So we'll give you an exercise, won't take very long, to assess where your existing or new performance, new or existing system is in terms of its development. In this week, there will be articles to read on some of the basics of performance measurement, performance management, and in many ways, and in many uses and value of performance data. And as I said, there'll be articles to read throughout the course. They'll give you a more detailed understanding of each of the key areas we cover in the course. For example, you'll learn about how other government organizations effectively communicate performance information. So we'll be looking at best practices in this area in performance measurement and management throughout the United States as well as worldwide. So in week 2, we'll develop a problem statement. In many performance measurement systems, you'll usually see a hierarchy of mission, goals, objectives, and measures. In this course, we'll discuss each of those elements, but we'll also look at it a little differently as we develop measurable objectives and key performance indicators. And you'll know what these in more detail what these are as we go through the course. But we'll talk about measurable objectives and key performance indicators using a logic model as the foundation. So we'll be talking about a logic model. So to begin this process in week 2, we develop a problem statement, which is the basis for developing our objectives, right? What we want to accomplish, right? And key performance indicators. So we'll look at a problem you might have in your organization, your department, division, program, and so on. And
Stu, I think you might be muted.
okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, in week 3, we develop a modified logic model based on the problem statement. And it's here we develop a few measurable objectives, activities, and key performance indicators that are related to problem statement. I'm going to give you a lot of examples. So each week, I'll give you examples for each of the exercises that we'll be doing during that week. And the activities that you identify should help minimize the organization's problems. Also, during week 3, you'll critique your own or another organization's strategic plan. So we'll be looking at an organization's strategic plan. Of course, often in that strategic plan, a lot of organizations, government organizations, have strategic plans. It tells you what the organization wants to accomplish and their mission and goals, objectives, and possibly performance measures. In week 4, we focus on collecting and reporting performance data. In the exercise, we'll ask you how you would develop how you would collect the data for the objectives and key performance indicators you developed in week 3, and also how costly is it to collect that data. Okay. And again, we're not going to ask for to come up with an actual dollar amount, but just some idea of how difficult is it to collect that data, because you don't want to develop measures that will be too costly in most cases too costly to collect the data. But we know, especially government and nonprofit organizations, we do have a lot of data, either in our own organizations or state and federal data sets as well. Now, in weeks 5 through 8, we focus more on the internal and especially external aspects of performance management, and that corresponds, as you see, into section 2 on the previous slide. Okay, so section 1 is more internal look within developing measures within our organizations, and section 2 is a little more focused on external, which I'll cover right now. So there we talk about in week 5, identifying internal and external stakeholders and their interest in how they can help you if you're implementing a new program, project, or policy in your organization. So we have to always look at our key stakeholders and see how can we get them to help us. Sometimes we can convince them to help us in trying to implement again a performance measurement. First, we'll talk about what just in a new program project policy, but then also how do we get them to help us in developing our performance measurement and performance management system. In week 6, we'll talk about the role of politics and citizens in performance measurement and how to incorporate both groups into the performance implementation process. Okay, so that's citizens and politics, which obviously plays, especially in government organizations, a big role in implementing something like a performance measurement and performance management system. Of course, for many organizations, I should say, it's a different way of thinking, and really, it's really based on data. Okay. In week 7, we'll talk about creating a culture of performance management improvement in your organization, and also opportunities for sustaining the performance system over time. Okay. We'll be reading an interesting article about psychological barriers to performance management and the obstacles that you often face when we're trying to implement a system in a government organization or a nonprofit organization. In week 8, we'll be talking about using performance information in decision making and using the measurement data in process improvement. So that's taking all of what we've learned from our system, having relevant measures, and saying, what is it telling me, and what is it telling me about my organization, the processes, is things going up or going down, and then how can I tie that into making improvements. And also in week 8, you'll also complete a final assignment, which is simply a chance to pull together some of the key things you learned throughout the course. And by the way, we do a remote in-person orientation session during the first week of the course. So everyone gets to know each other and also to go over some of the key concepts that students sometimes have had problems with in past cohorts, especially in the weeks 2 and 3. So we'll spend a lot of time looking at a lot of examples and making sure to really understand a problem statement and objectives and KPIs so we can get through that a lot quicker. So over the past few minutes, I've talked about many of the key benefits you and your organization will recognize through this course. As I mentioned, one of the most important is that you'll learn new tools and techniques for developing measures that are linked to your organizations, assuming you have one. And I've actually worked in organizations where they didn't have a strategic plan. We still had to develop performance measures later on. They developed a strategic plan and were able to link them together. But hopefully, or if you do have a strategic plan, that your measures will be linked to its mission, goals, and objectives. And these tools and techniques will help you in real life in obtaining key stakeholder involvement and support and improved management decision-making and organizational performance. Okay, Greg, are you on the phone? I'm sorry, on the in the session. Stephanie, is Greg with us?
I think I saw it. Yeah. Greg?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay.
Sorry.
Greg Benson is, as I mentioned, a student from the previous cohort. And Greg has extensive fire service organizational experience at multiple levels. He is a fire chief in Texas, Port Arthur, Texas. And his experience spans from a backstep firefighter to as a chief, and not just Port Arthur, but in other multiple size departments. Greg has led the establishment of 2 professional fire departments, dramatically improving respective communities' emergency services, safety, and preparedness levels through collaboration with stakeholders, and what we were just talking about in terms of the course. Greg's educational professional achievements include earning a master's degree in public administration and a postgraduate level certificate of achievement in organizational development. Welcome Greg, and he'll speak for a few minutes about his experience as a student in the past cohort. Greg?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for the opportunity here for those folks that are listening in that may be future students, I'll say. I would highly recommend it. What was gained out of this course and the interaction was very beneficial. I think some of the we've all probably gone to different courses and schools and stuff, and some of the topics we may be given a project to work on that doesn't have any applicability to us. Well, one of the things that I saw was really valuable was that we were supposed to look at what's applicable to our organization, and so it made it practical. And I can tell you, Stuart, we're just it was very interesting. And you and I had conversations through the class to help me better understand and do better performance, but it was very valuable in that regard. In that road, the other thing I'd say is you mentioned change. Just so you know, I don't typically like to use the word change anymore. Really like to use the word transform. But what I've learned is our tools to help transform we've always done it this way model to a new, more effective, more efficient, more engaging model that you can actually, measure. You see the outcomes. You also know what the stakeholders are, who's involved in that. And so I would just, just to summarize that, I guess I'll say is it's just the exercises and everything are very practical to what type of organization what your organization is and what you're trying, what are you trying to accomplish. I'll say one of the other things that I thought was really interesting, and I think Stuart and I, exchanged numerous back and forth on this, but that week number 2, developing a problem statement, was very interesting because a problem statement is not just, oh, this isn't working. You really got to take it multiple steps there. But then once you do that, it becomes much more manageable and able to, take it forward for better outcomes and understand too what you might run into. It could be, I'll say, obstacles or things like that. So that I thought was very valuable. Also, the stakeholder analysis, Stuart, was very beneficial because, and I'll say most of my experiences in the fire service, but just that doesn't mean that we just put out fires. I'll say, and I will tell you right now, everybody here, a physical fire is a whole lot more easy to put out than a bureaucratic or organizational fire, just so you know. But understanding the stakeholder impact on the stakeholders and what's going to be the, who are the key stakeholders, who are the primary, who are the secondary. I'm just throwing out some of the things that I learned, sorry. But also, how are they going to be affected and being aware of if you do something, what might that have effect on that stakeholder? And that's very important. And especially when you consider that all of our communities are different, but we all have stakeholders, whatever they could be. It could be elected officials from a school district, if you will, or from a municipality or whatever, or you got, industrial, commercial, all kinds of different stakeholders out there. So, but it was very valuable. And what I've been able to do since completing the class is trying to take steps to transform from a culture of we've always done it this way to what is a better way to do it, what's going to be more efficient, more effective, and align us with strategic goals and planning. So, Stuart, I don't want to go down too many.
No, that's great. If you'd like, if you want to speak well, a little bit longer, you're welcome to. But I had a question to ask you, and I think a lot of students said that stakeholder analysis was something we often don't think about when we're implementing a new project or program, and in this case, a system that we really have to think about who can help us, who are roadblocks, and come up with some kind of a strategy to be able to either those who want to, have an interest and want to support us, how can we use their input, and those who are going to be roadblocks to what we want to implement. What kind of strategy do we need there so to overcome those roadblocks? So I think that's really important that you touch on that. I wanted to also ask you, Greg, what about you have any comments on all the different things we did, the readings, the lectures, the discussion board, so on. Anything you want to say about those?
Well,
What we did each week.
yes. Well, I would say too, the lectures were very applicable to the lessons for that week. And then one thing I found that was also really beneficial was the reading material that was associated with each week. You had each week you might have 2 or 3 articles to read, but you also helped focus in on specific pages. You didn't have to read the whole 30-page article. Here, read this page, these 2 pages, these. But I found a couple of the articles, and I still have a couple of them that I use on a regular basis. The one by Mr. Poyster and Strebe, The Elements of Strategic Planning and Management in Municipal Government, Status After 2 Decades. I've continued to review this and use this as one of the my just reflection models. So there's other ones too that I find are very valuable. So
I mentioned the one about the psychological barriers to performance management. I always like that one. Kind of looks at different way of looking at it, at performance management, and again all the difficulties of trying to implement it in a government organization, and again what tools and techniques you can use to get the organization interested and moving in the right direction. So so we talk a lot about what are the barriers, and again you could talk about in the exercises about your organization as well. So that's great, Greg. You really covered a lot of different things about the course that will be, I'm sure, interesting to the people attending today. Any more for those who are attending? Okay, I see one question coming in. I was going to ask questions that you might have, and I think the question was each week. So we start what happens each week. So on Sunday night, I will open up, and next slide we're going to look at what you'll see each week to do your exercises and discussion boards, and lectures, and so on, and readings. But we open it Sunday night. It's asynchronous, this course, which means that you could do the work anytime during the week. So it'll be all there for you. It's all recorded. The lectures are all recorded. So it opens up on Sunday. I'll open it up on Sunday night. And then it's around midnight on Sunday night, usually after football games on Sunday. And then I'd like you to turn in your exercises, your one exercise each week on the following Sunday night. Okay. Other questions for myself or Stephanie or Greg? Okay. All right. So this is what you're going to see, that you'll see. We use a platform called Canvas, and this will open up, as I said, on Sunday night, and you'll see here in it announcements, assignments. Okay. So announcements are really critical. Let me just say that right now. Announcements, you got to read the announcements, because within the announcements, we'll have a lot of examples that you can use when you do the exercise that week. Okay, so that's really important. We'll have a discussion as well. So there'll be discussion. So I'll give you two questions related to the reading materials or to the lecture. Okay. One will ask about in general, and it'll be a general question. The other is how does it apply? Give some examples of how you handle that whatever it is, the question I'm asking within your own organization. Okay, and then of course you'll have the lecture. Okay, and you'll have, as I mentioned, the readings, and they'll have required readings and supplemental readings. Okay, and this is the way through Canvas is the way that you'll be able to communicate with me. And you could see like week 1. So you'll see this is just a copy of a page from Canvas. And this again, what you would see. Week 1, introducing performance measurement, performance management. And you'll see the lecture, which you'll open and watch, and then required readings, and you'll also see discussions that you'll need to participate every week with your fellow students. How many hours per week? We always get the question, should we plan on for lectures, reading assignments? From prior experience, and it's really hard to say. I mean, it could really vary, really based on, prior knowledge, but more importantly, how, are you going to, do you read every article? Okay, are you involved or in the discussion board? Did you watch the lecture? Okay, and so really, I would say around maybe 4 to 6 hours. Again, this is just from experience from teaching this course over the last few years. Okay, and let me say too, I'm available at any time. There's no predetermined hours. So, if you have a question, you could always go into your Suffolk mailbox and just send me a question. Be happy to answer. And sometimes I've actually had to set up Zoom meetings with students if they get stuck on something, but I'm available all the time to help you. You're not out there on your own. If you have a question, want some clarification or something, I'll be there to help you, to get you through the course. So for those who ask those questions, Stephanie, can I ask questions through other than chat?
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question.
Okay, Stephanie, do you want to say anything about this, about what they see every week?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much covered it all. Everything that you'll need for this course will be on Canvas, which is a platform that we use. It's pretty user-friendly. If you have any issues, you can just email me and I'll get to it right away. But it's mostly pretty easy to use, like I think, when we think to like other courses, sometimes we have to buy books or we have to buy supplemental things, materials, but you won't have to do that here. I think, your instructor does a really great job of trying to be as comprehensive as possible with the material that he gives you and make sure that you're getting everything that you need. And yeah.
All right. Good. And you can also ask, you could send an email to Stephanie. She can help you as well, especially, in the first week as you're getting set up and learning. If you haven't used Canvas before, Stephanie definitely could help you. She's great. with Canvas. And and you can also get in touch with the information is Suffolk's Information Technology Department as well, and they can help you as well if you need any additional assistance. This last cohort was the first time we used Canvas. And Greg, do you have, again, I know we had a couple of hiccups with this, but what did you think about using Canvas? Was it intuitive and easy to use? Okay. No, I think
Might be tied up at the
he might have
moment,
yeah, he might
but
have.
I mean, I would say in general it's a pretty user-friendly platform. And again, if you have any issues, I can even meet on Zoom. I'll be sending an orientation email before the course starts. So it'll give you all the info that you need and my contact information. I want to say one thing that I think is really unique to this course versus other certificates is that you actually get to work on your own organization or an organization that you feel, you know, that you want to, like you get to choose, and you actually come out of this course with actionable steps and items, which, you know, a lot of courses tend to be a lot of theory, but you kind of, what's unique here is that you have, you know, somebody, an expert who is guiding you through all of this, and you get to finish the course and feel actually prepared and have the materials, be prepared with the materials to actually implement change. You know, you don't have to start from scratch after you've learned everything. You actually get this guidance, and I think it's pretty great.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie. Okay, the next slide. Okay. One of the things you'll get with the course is free supplemental material. There are different recordings, videos that you'll have access to. Theory building, you can see those on the left-hand side of the slide, measuring concepts, sampling populations, designing surveys, and conducting qualitative analysis, and an introduction to correlation and regression. And these you'll always have even after the course is over and we close it out, you'll have access to these applied research methods. And Stephanie, do you want to talk about the registration discount?
Yeah, so we currently have a special going. So normally our courses are 1,250, so 1,250. And 1,100 for government or nonprofit employees. We're running a special right now for $800 for the certificate. So you can use the code that's here, or you can email me if you forget it, if you want to sign up and pay the $800. You know, get that special price. Feel free to use the code. Otherwise, it will you know, default to the 1,250, but feel free to email me if you have any questions about that. And we do have, if you register 3 or more people from the same organization, you can receive a group discount of 20%. But my email's right at the bottom there. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to email me at any time, and I'll either answer your questions or I'm happy to get on a call.
That's great. So yeah, so you're available certainly between now and when the course starts, as well as after the course starts. If anyone has any questions, and okay, any questions from our attendees?
We did have that one question that I answered in the chat, but just for the record, whoever didn't see it, the next session does start on February 26th.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. And I want to thank all of you who attended this informational session, and hope to see you at the In the next certificate class, as Stephanie says, starts on Monday, February 26th. Thank you.
Stuart, could I make one little comment here?
Sure.
So you're talking about the cost, and here's what I would consider that. It's an investment. You know, I mean, the investment of what the dollar amount versus what you bring out of that is very beneficial. And so I refer to it I refer to it as an investment in not only my knowledge base, but what I can do for an organization. So.
Great, Greg. Thank you. And I appreciate you participating this evening and your insights as a former student.
Well, thank you for the offer. I'm very, I was honored to be able to present some of the items that I learned, and I hope that you continue to advocate and expand and continue the program.
Okay, great. Thank you, Greg, and thank all of you for attending this evening.
Yeah, everybody that signs up, good luck. You're going to learn something.